We are live, joining from WeWork and on AirPods. Sound quality is not the best, but let's make it happen. We're looking into Andrej Karpathy. Tell me more. Tell me more. All right. Clock is fast. Slovak Canadian computer scientist born October 23, 1986, Bratislava, Czechoslovakia. Moved to Toronto at 15 and earned bachelor's degree in computer science and physics from the University of Toronto 2009, a master's from UBC 2011, and PhD from Stanford 2015 under Fifi Lee. Fifi Lee, I think, worked at Facebook, right? Fifi Lee. Fifi Lee, head of Facebook AI? Oh, director of Stanford, vice president of Google and chief scientist of AI ML at Google Cloud. Okay, got it. He's known for his work in AI, particularly in convolutional and recurrent neural networks. Co-founded OpenAI 2015 to 17, served as Tesla's director of AI and Autopilot division. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So Andrej Karpathy got to OpenAI, and OpenAI at that time was led by Elon. And in 2 years, Elon is like, no, 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 don't work at OpenAI. Come over here, come to Tesla. So as Tesla's director of AI and Autopilot Vision 2017 to 22, and briefly returned to OpenAI 23, 24. 24, he founded Eureka Labs, an AI plus education company, with its first product being an AI course, LLM 101N. He's okay, that's very interesting. We have to look into that. Okay. He's also prominent educator, having co-designed Stanford's CS231N course on convolutional neural networks and creating YouTube videos on neural networks and large language models, amassing millions of views, named one of MIT Technology Review's innovators under 35 in 2020. Wow. Okay, so 86 means he's not that old. He's not that old. He is, he's 40 years old now. Okay. On Times 100 most influential people in AI list in 24, Karpathy has over 72,000 academic citations. Open source contributions include projects like NanoGPT, Llama 2C, LLMC. He coined the term vibe coding in 2025 to describe AI-assisted app development via prompts. Karpathy emphasizes practical, code-driven AI education, intelligence amplification over super intelligent AI, drawing inspiration from figures like Richard Feynman. Emphasizes practical code-driven AI education and intelligence amplification over super intelligent AI, drawing inspiration from figures like Richard Feynman. This is very interesting. Intelligence amplification. Tell me more. Andre's vision for intelligence amplification. LLM 101N AI native course developed by Eureka Labs, founded by Andrej Karpathy, designed to teach the fundamentals of LLMs through a hands-on code-first approach, focusing on building and understanding LLMs from scratch. Course leverages Karpathy's expertise in deep learning and his popular educational style from Stanford's CS231N and YouTube tutorials. It's Eureka Labs' first product aimed at democratizing AI education by combining rigorous technical talent with an engaging, community-driven learning experience. Very interesting. You know how image generation went from blurry 32 by 32 texture patches to high resolution images that are difficult to distinguish from real in roughly a snap of finger. The same is now happening along the time axis extending to video, and the repercussions boggle the mind just a bit. Every human becomes a director of multimodal dreams, like the architect in Inception. Coming back to Earth for a second image, video generation is a perfect match for data-hungry neural nets because data is plentiful, and the pixels of each image or video are a huge source of bits, soft constraints on the parameters of the network. When you are training giant neural nets in supervision rich settings, your train loss is validation loss, and life is so good. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is too much. Coming back to words for a second, image video generation is a perfect match for data hungry neural nets because data is plentiful, and the pixels of each image or video are a huge source of bits on the parameters of the network. When you are training giant neural nets in supervision with settings, your train loss is equal to validation loss. Okay, I don't understand. I don't understand this. My favorite place to keep an eye on the AI video space unfold at the moment is probably AI video Reddit or the individual discords. Pika, Pika. Really cool. Really cool. Yeah, I think he has added a bunch of just like opinions on different things, interesting things that are happening. And ideally, he explains in a very like I thought he would be explaining a very simple language, but over there where he said train loss is equal to validation loss, I don't really understand that. Let's actually look over here first. Yeah, this was interesting. Vision for intelligence amplification. Using AI to enhance human cognitive. Also, while we do that, let's do Andrej Karpathy quotes. One of the best quotes is simply the most popular, the only language that the hardest programming language is English. Right, right, right. That's it. Centers on using AI to enhance human cognitive capabilities, enabling people to solve problems more effectively, learn faster, and create with greater efficiency rather than pursuing fully autonomous, superintelligent AI. This perspective aligns with his broader philosophy of empowering individuals through practical, accessible AI tools and education. Below is a detailed overview, human AI collaboration. AI is a partner that augments human intelligence on replacement. He emphasizes tools that amplify creativity, reasoning, and productivity, allowing humans to focus on high-level decision making making while AI handles repetitive or complex computations. Oh, very interesting. Today, just like Shopify's Toby came out with the fact that, okay, now we are becoming AI first. Today, Duolingo did the same thing where Duolingo is like, we are becoming AI first. You have to use AI. We are gonna cancel all the contractors, all the work we do with contractors. We're gonna make sure everything is now in-house, done by AI. If you need more headcount, if you need to hire more people, you have to justify that you couldn't figure that out with AI. Only then you will be allowed headcount. And what else? There was one more thing, which is right. I think he said that, yeah, that doesn't mean that we are trying to just lay off people, fire people, but we want to make sure that the most outstanding people who believe in Duolingo's mission, they are here and able to do more. So you kind of want to really want to make sure that you are clarifying like what is going to happen. Are you saying that as you keep automating, we're going to start firing a lot of people, or are you saying that we just want to do more, be more creative, and ship more? And I think he also said that we will focus on shipping more without worrying too much about quality. So quality might be deprecating because we are focused on shipping more. And I think Duolingo just recently launched their chess game as well. So a lot of interesting things are happening in general because I'm also learning French. And when I look at Duolingo, I believe that Duolingo is great. Duolingo is great. I don't want to say anything bad about it, but it's just that my goal to learn French is faster. I just want to go faster. And when you do Duolingo, you just realize that you are just in a simulated environment. The best way to learn how to swim is jump into the deep end and see what swimming actually looks like. If you are always in a simulated environment, you will never understand, you'll never learn to handle the pressure or handle the depth or prepare yourself mentally to handle that depth. So, yeah, Duolingo is a quick game. You can do that every day and stuff. But if you really want to learn a language, if you're really serious about learning a language, that's not the way to do it. But anyways, yeah, Duolingo is good, I guess. A lot of my friends use Duolingo. All right. For example, his work on projects like NanoGPT and LLM 101N and Eureka Labs reflects. Okay, while we do that, Eureka Labs sponsored. Oh, an extension for your team. Are we looking at the right Eureka Labs 2024? No, I think so. Eureka Labs AI. Yes, this is the one. Right. Wow. Who was that? Did they just get a domain or something? Okay. Reflects a focus on enabling individuals to understand and build AI systems themselves, fostering a deeper synergy between human intuition and AI capabilities. A key pillar of his vision is democratizing AI knowledge. He believes that teaching people how AI works through hands-on coding and intuitive explanations equip them to leverage AI as a tool for their own goals. His LLM 101N course at Eureka Labs aims to make large language model development. Can we ask Grok, give me key takeaways from the LLM 101N course? Make LLM development accessible, empowering students, developers, and professionals to use LLMs as cognitive amplifiers for tasks like writing, analysis, and innovation. Practical code-driven tools. Advocates for open source, lightweight AI implementation that individuals can run and modify. Providing minimal educational code bases that let users experiment with LLMs on consumer hardware. Approach contrasts with opaque centralized AI systems, ensuring users retain control and can tailor AI to amplify their specific needs from research to creative projects. Vibe coding and iterative creation. 2025, he coined vibe coding, describing a workflow where developers use AI to rapidly prototype apps or solutions via iterative prompting. This method amplifies human creativity by letting AI handle boilerplate code or suggest optimizations, but while humans guide the vibe or vision. This reflects his belief that IA should lower barriers to creation. Intelligence artificielle, intelligence artificielle, enabling non-experts to build sophisticated systems with AI assistance. Focus on real-world impact. Whoa, why does it keep doing IA? Prioritizes practical applications of speculative superintelligence. His time at Tesla, where he developed AI for autopilot vision, showed how AI can enhance human tasks like driving by processing vast visual data in real time, augmenting human perception and decision making. Let's see. What were Andrej Karpathy's biggest achievements during time at Tesla? Okay, wipe coding. We got, was this one? No, we are here. Yes, focus on real world impact. Tasks like driving by processing vast visual data in real time, augmenting human perception and decision making. It's applying AI to education, using AI to personalize learning, generate interactive content, and scale access to high quality instruction. Philosophical underpinnings inspired by Feynman. Karpathy often cites Richard Feynman's teaching philosophy, emphasizing clarity and first principles understanding. He applies this to AI by ensuring AI tools and education are intuitive, transparent, and grounded in practical use cases. Skepticism of superintelligence. Unlike some AI researchers focus on autonomous general intelligence, AGI. Whoa. General intel autonomous artificial okay, autonomous general intelligence lean towards systems that enhance human agency. He's expressed on platforms like X that AI is more immediate, human-centric goal, avoiding the risk of over relying on unproven superintelligence systems. By sharing code tutorials and ideas freely, he fosters a global community of learners and builders who can use AI to amplify their own intelligence, creating a virtuous cycle of innovation. We have to follow him then if he is big. Andrej Karpathy. How I use LLMs. So he hasn't posted in a while, but he does get a lot of views. 2.7 Intro to LLMs. Has built GPT from scratch 2 years ago. The spelled out intro to neural networks. Last one, how I use LLMs. Okay, really cool. The course teaches students to build LLMs, equipping them to use these models as tools for tasks like automating research, generating insights, or creating content, effectively amplifying their intellectual output. Tools like NanoGPT allow developers to fine-tune models for specific domains, medical research, or creative writing, enhancing their ability to tackle specialized problems without needing massive resources. Tesla Autopilot, Karpathy's work on vision-based AI augmented drivers' situational awareness, demonstrating AI. Okay, really cool. In safety critical applications, ubiquitous but subordinate to human intent integrated into tools like coding environments, educational platforms, and creative workflows. By prioritizing education and open access, he aims to ensure AI benefits a broad population, not just tech elites. Lightweight AI systems hints at a world where anyone with an idea can use AI to bring it to life, amplifying human potential. Okay, some quotes. I'm playing around with calling our tech as it is today. AI, oh, IA, intelligence amplification instead of AI. Okay. The grok wasn't messing up. IA, intelligence amplification instead of AI. IA have the vibe of tools for thought, needing human interaction and resemble a lot more what we actually have today. AI feels more like independent, long-running agents. Mm. EIA, intelligence amplification, does not seek to build superintelligent God entity that replaces humans, builds bicycle for the mind tool that empower and extend the information processing capabilities of humans, of all humans, not a top percentile. On AI as a collaborative tool. For us, it's much more becoming a story of how do humans and computers collaborate to actually create these vector space data sets. Humans program each other by prompt engineering too, so it's interesting to see that form of programming becoming increasingly prevalent with computers. Programming turns into a kind of applied psychology of neural nets, biological or synthetic. On vibe coding and AI assisted development, noticing myself adopting a certain rhythm in AI assisted coding, code I actually and professionally care about, contrast to vibe code. Stuff everything relevant into context. This can take a while in big projects. If the project is small enough, just stuff everything. Hmm. How AI tools allow hobbies to construct apps and websites by typing prompts, emphasizing AI's role in lowering barriers to creation. AI ergonomics and design, PSA. It's a new era of ergonomics. The primary audience of your thing, product, service, library is now an LLM, not a human. LLMs don't like to navigate, they like to scrape. LLMs don't like to see, they like to read. LLMs don't like to click, they like to curl, etc. and etc. They don't like to see, they like to read. They don't like to click, they like to curl. The docs also have to change in the content. Example, instead of instructing a person to go to the same page and do this or that, they could show call commands to run actions that are a lot easier for an LLM to carry out. On the future of AI agents, I think 2035 is the decade of agents. You will spin up organizations of operators for long running tasks of your choice, running a whole company. On AI's practical application, the high order bit that changed in AI, I'll give you 10x bigger computer 10 years ago. I'm not immediately sure what to do with it now. Not only do I know exactly what to do with it, but I can predict the metrics I will achieve. Algorithmic progress was necessity, now bonus. It's like insisting to walk when you can take a bike. It gets the hard things wrong, but all the easy things right. Very helpful. Hmm. Very interesting. Very helpful and much faster. You have to learn what it can and can't do. Because deep learning is so empirical, success in it is to a large extent proportional to raw experimental throughput. The ability to babysit a large number of experiments at once, staring at plots and tweaking, relaunching what works, this is necessary but not sufficient. It would be best if people made strong statements that are understood to be only 90% true and ignore the counterexample police. This saves time and makes direction of statements clear. Interesting. Karpathy.ai. Whoa, whoa, whoa. He has his own favorite tweets, favorite tweets wall. Sometimes tweets get lost in the hustle and bustle of the ephemeral timeline, so I thought it would be fun to collect some of my favorite tweets. The full collection is, of course, here, which is his Twitter. Plan is to throw a party in the Andromeda galaxy 1 billion years from now. Everyone welcome, except for those who litter. How long until we measure wealth inequality in flops? Potentially nitpicky, but competitive advantage in AI goes not so much to those with data, but those with a data engine, iterated data acquisition, retraining, evaluation, deployment, telemetry, and whoever can spin it fastest. Slide from Tesla to illustrate, but concept is general. Data source, identify and accuracy, boost, label, clean, train, deploy. Wow. So they are like, you need to have a unique data source. Potentially nitpicky with competitive advantage in AI goes not so much to those with data, but those with a data engine, iterated data acquisition, retraining, evaluation, deployment, telemetry, and whoever can spin it faster. Slide from Tesla to illustrate that concept in general. If previous neural nets are special purpose computers designed for specific tasks, GPT is a general purpose computer reconfigurable at runtime to run natural language programs. Programs are given in prompts, a kind of inception. GPT runs the program by completing the document. Automated companies made up just of LLMs, CU LLM, Manager LLMs, IC LLMs, running asynchronously and communicating over a Slack-like interface in text. Not sure if there's a name for, I think no, the feeling of a deep discomfort when the probability of an interruption is greater than zero while trying to work. It's kind of fear. A transformer is a magnificent neural network architecture because it is a general purpose differentiable computer. It is simultaneously expressive in the forward pass, optimizable via backpropagation, gradient descent, efficient high parallelism compute graph. It would be best if people made strong statements that are understood to be only 90% true and ignore the counterexample police that saves time and makes direction of statements clear. Okay, this is interesting. Key takeaways. Teach students how to build a storyteller AI LLM from scratch. Hands-on code-first approach to learning LLMs. Course guides students to build a functional LLM dubbed as storyteller AI capable of creating, refining, and illustrating narratives, similar to a simplified ChatGPT. It emphasizes practical coding over theoretical lectures. Students work with Python, C, CUDA, building the model end-to-end from basic components to a web app interface with minimal computer science prerequisites to ensure accessibility. The focus is on experiential learning inspired by Richard Feynman's quote, what I cannot create, I do not understand. What I cannot create, I do not understand. Encouraging students to gain deep insights by constructing the AI themselves. What I cannot create, I do not understand. Breaks down complex architectural elements into digestible modules. 1 to 3, bigrams, n-gram, backpropagation, machine learning, basics, mathematical foundations, attention mechanisms, transformers, GPT architecture, tokenizers, byte pair encoding, optimization techniques, FP8 precision, multi-GPU training, datasets for training, inference, and key value caching. Advanced topics include neural network architecture like GPT 1 to 4, Llama, and mixture of experts, as well as tensor operations, democratizing AI education, minimizing prerequisites and providing clear, high-quality materials, empower students to train their own AI, fostering intelligence amplification, where humans use AI as a tool to enhance their capabilities. AI native philosophy, where AI teaching assistants complement human designed curricula, personalized guidance, answering questions, and adapting to individual learning process, simulating the experience of learning from an expert like Simon. Okay. Open and collaborative development, publicly share progress through GitHub and X, foster transparency, community input, being developed. The full course is not yet available. GitHub repositories archived until completion. Potential hurdles include high development costs, data privacy concerns, and ensuring equitable access. Create their own AI systems, thereby enhancing their ability to solve problems, innovate, and learn. Bicycle from mind, amplifying human potential through collaborative, practical education rather than replacing human effort with autonomous systems. This is interesting. Okay, so what he served as the director of AI and Autopilot Vision, development of vision-based autopilot system. So not using camera only, not using sensors, known as Tesla Vision. Bold shift that relied entirely on neural networks to process visual data. Eliminate radar and ultrasonic sensors, reducing hardware costs and complexity. Okay. Shift position Tesla as a pioneer in end-to-end neural network driven autonomy. Spearheaded the development of neural networks for FST, advancement of FST, navigation through intersection traffic lights and pedestrian interactions. Thousands of users testing advanced features like city street navigation by 22, improved lane changes, automatic stopping at traffic signals, enhanced object detection, multitask neural networks that simultaneously handle perception, prediction, and planning. Brought Tesla closer to level 4 autonomy, where vehicles can drive without human intervention in most conditions. Scaling neural network training with Dojo supercomputer. Design and implementation of Dojo, custom-built AI training platform optimized for processing massive datasets from Tesla's vehicle fleet. Enable Tesla to train larger, more complex neural networks by processing petabytes of real-world driving data collected from millions of Tesla vehicles. It accelerated the development of FSG by allowing rapid iteration on neural network models, improving accuracy for edge cases, rare road scenarios. Expertise in scaling AI systems was critical to optimizing Dojo's. Okay, this is very interesting. In the next stream, want to do deep dive on Tesla FST. Deep dive on Tesla FST. Okay. Dojo gave Tesla competitive edge in AI development, reducing reliance on third-party cloud providers and enabling faster deployment of FSG updates. Building and leading a world-class AI team. His leadership fostered a culture of rapid experimentation and iteration, empirical throughput, and deep learning, running many experiments to refine models. Proprietary tools for data annotation, simulation, and neural network optimization, streamlining the development pipeline for Autopilot and FSG. Upskill engineers, ensuring the team could tackle cutting-edge challenges. Sustain progress in autonomy even after Karpathy's departure. Public advocacy and transparency. High-profile presentations at AI events showcasing technical underpinnings of Tesla's AI systems and educating the public on autonomous driving. explaining how cameras and deep learning replaced traditional sensor fusion, earning praise for its clarity and depth. He unveiled Dojo and demonstrated FSG's real-time perception capabilities, highlighting how neural networks process raw camera inputs into driving decisions. These presentations demystify Tesla's technology, attracting talent and investor confidence while reinforcing Karpathy's role as a thought leader in AI, and position Tesla as a transparent leader in AI-driven mobility, contrasting with competitors' more secretive approaches. End-to-end neural network pipeline, challenges overcome. Skepticism about vision-only systems, complexity of urban driving, need for robust edge case handling, intelligence amplification, recognition. He returned to OpenAI before finding Eureka, benchmark for applying deep learning. Why did he leave Tesla? What did he say about it? Several factors. Shift to managerial role versus technical position. Evolved into a highly managerial position involving meetings, high-level strategic decisions, and team growth. I have kind of gotten myself into a little bit of a managerial position. Most of my days were meetings. It's not fundamentally what I enjoy. As a dreamer, researcher, tinker, and teacher at heart, Karpathy preferred hands-on technical work in AI, such as coding and model development over corporate executive duties. This misalignment with his core passions likely prompted his decision to leave. Revisit long-term passions. I have no concrete plans for what's next, but look to spend more time revisiting my long-term passions around technical work in AI, open source, and education. Hmm. Releasing open source projects like NanoGPT. Returned to his roots as an educator and researcher. Sabbatical reflection. 4-month sabbatical, stating he wanted to resharpen my technical edge. He likely reflected on his career goals. Industry observers noted that Tesla executives taking sabbaticals often did not return, suggesting may the break may have clarified his desire to pursue other interests. Deliberate choice, possibly influenced by a reassessment of his role and future aspirations. Transitioning from lane keeping to navigating complex city streets and the development of the Tesla vision system and Dojo supercomputer. He expressed pride in these achievements. Autopilot graduated from lane keeping to city streets. Mm. He felt his core contributions were complete, allowing him to step away confidently. Potential frustration with FSG timelines and expectation. 1 million robotaxis by 2020 or coast to coast autonomy by 2017. Frustrated by Musk's aggressive timelines, which clash with the technical complexity of achieving level 4 autonomy. FOMO effect from all of these tech to sex scaling companies and Elon's outrageous timelines. Financial independence. Compensation in Tesla likely including substantial stock grants, given the stock surge, provided him significant financial security. His net worth was 50 to 150 million by 22. Prioritize personal fulfillment over staying in a high pressure role. It's difficult to retain key people after your stock did 20x in 3 years and rewarded your stars so well. With companies like OpenAI, DeepMind, and Cohere scaling large language models and other AI technologies. Karpathy, a former OpenAI co-founder, may have felt drawn to explore these advancements outside Tesla's applied focus on automotive AI. Desire to engage with cutting-edge AI research and education, areas less constrained by Tesla's specific mission. And strength. Hundreds of strong engineers who very much know what they are doing. No drama or conflict. Praising Tesla, Musk, and team. Thanks for everything you have done for Tesla. It has been an honor working with you. Amicable, not driven by conflict. Skepticism, personal burnout. Intense demands of leading Tesla's AI efforts combined with Musk's high expectations may have contributed to burnout, prompting the sabbatical and eventual exit. Why would Karpathy be leaving if he actually believed FSG was around the corner? On the eve of his triumph, if autonomy was imminent. However, these are speculative, not confirmed by Karpathy. Expressed openness to returning to Tesla to work on projects like Optimus, Robot, or AGS, suggesting his departure was not a rejection of Tesla's mission, but a shift in focus. Really cool. Really cool. Everything can be true over here. Everything can be true. It would be best if people meet. Okay, we got that. Vision may be a high enough throughput input to the brain that is also sufficiently connected to its reward modules that AI assisted generative art may converge to wire heading, probably nothing. There's something deep and borderline unintuitive about most real world problems just happening to be informally NP complete, hard to solve, but easy to verify solution to. It's this asymmetry that makes progress possible, as culture can record previous computational work. Earth as a dynamical system is a really bad computer. A lot of information processing is concentrated in a few tiny compute nodes with terrible interconnects, even as bad as use of physical translation and air pressure waves. AGI is a feeling like love, not trying to define it. AGI is in the eye of the beholder. AGI is a feeling like love. Stop trying to define it. Human vision extracts only a tiny amount of information from surrounding EM radiation sensitive to narrow wavelength band. Real world data distribution is N01. Good data set is U minus U2. Looking back, my most valuable college classes were physics, but for general problem solving intuitions alone. Modeling systems with increasingly more complex terms, extrapolating variables to check behaviors at limits, pursuit of the simplest, most powerful solutions. The time evolution of the human condition approximated. Let's see, we should share this on Warpcast too. Now I think they're starting to call it Farcaster. The time evolution of human condition approximated as a Gaussian is more than of expanding variance than that of moving mean. Reading sci-fi with humanoid aliens who speak English and have faces. Reading sci-fi with humanoid aliens who speak English and have faces is what others must be experiencing as they hear a fork scratching a blade. I don't think a regular person appreciates how insane it is that computers work. Propose we stare at each other, mind blown, for about 1 hour per day in small groups, in circles, around a chip on a pedestal, appreciating that we can coerce physics to process information like that. That's a good one. That's a good one. I propose we stare at each other, mind blown, for about 1 hour per day in groups, in small groups, in circles, around a chip on a pedestal, appreciating that we can coerce physics to process information like that. Humans program each other by prompt engineering too, so it's interesting to see that form of programming becoming increasingly prevalent with computers. Programming turns into a kind of applied psychology of neural nets, biological or synthetic. Everybody gangster until real world deployment in production. Oh, in a chat somewhere a while ago. Actually, the ADP synthase and proton gradients is by far the coolest molecular invention of life, followed by the ribosome and then maybe DNA, despite it being so iconic and getting so much press with your friends. The ongoing consolidation in AI is incredible. Right, when I started a decade ago, vision, speech, natural language reinforcement learning were completely separate. You couldn't read papers across areas. The approaches were completely different, often not even ML based. Any binary variable you create in an API for something you will eventually want to generalize to an int, then you will want to upgrade that to a string, then to a tuple. And you realize it should be a dict. Eventually, it will be a class. Deep learning is a form of human-assisted but mostly constraint-driven software development. It works because this particular smooth relaxation of program space allows a surprisingly efficient and effective local search. Something like that. My favorite definition. Browsing the web, 2021. Docker broken half. Okay, that's a good one. Good one. Browsing the web, 2021. A friend yesterday mentioned that semiconductor tech is probably the deepest node in our civilizations. Semiconductor tech is probably the deepest node in our civilization's explode tech tree. This actually sounds right, but is also a fun concept. Any of the candidates? Deepest node in our civilization's explode tech tree. I like blockchain tech quite a bit because it extends open source to open source plus state, a genuine exciting innovation computing paradigms. I'm just sad and struggle to get over it coming packaged with so much brain dead BS. Get rich quick, pumps, dumps, scams, spams, memes, etc. I like to play co-op against nature. WSG front page every day is like stock market percent 30% rises if random, not random. 6.54 else falls. Wow. Current status. Okay. CO2 H2O cold plus heat. Everyone is obsessed with accelerating neural nets. So, as a fun side project, I've been building this breadboard 8-bit neural net decelerator. It will crawl at best, falling along the excellent Ben Eater 8-bit computer. Because deep learning is so empirical success, and it is to a large extent proportional to raw experimental throughput. The ability to babysit a large number of experiments at once, staring at plots and tweaking, relaunching what works. This is necessary, but not sufficient. Would aliens also have X? For almost any X tickles the brain a lot. The X that primed it for me just now again is stainless steel, but almost any generalization of it works. We vibrate the electromagnetic field just right. Cars passively awash in the radiation for a while will suddenly drive better. Is there a word for the paranoid feeling you get when you think you may be reading, listening to something generated by a GPT? And why should it matter that it was? Exactly. The unambiguously correct place to examine your training data is immediately before it feeds into the network. Take the raw XY batch, people ship it back to CPU unrendered visualized. We often catches bug with data augmentation, label pre-processing samplers, collation, etc., etc. How to become an expert? A thing. Iteratively take on concrete projects and accomplish them depth-wise, learning on demand. Don't learn bottom up, breadth-wise, depth-wise, breadth-wise. Don't learn bottom up, breadth-wise. Creative take on concrete projects and accomplish them depth-wise, learning on demand. Teach, summarize everything you learn in your own words. Only compare yourself with younger you, never to others. Creatively take on concrete projects and accomplish them depth-wise, learning on demand. Don't learn bottom-up, breadth-wise. I don't know what don't learn bottom up breathwise means. Depthwise. Okay. Aging has 100% mortality rate and no one cares. When you sort your data set descending by loss, you are guaranteed to find something unexpected, strange, and helpful. Notifications, masquerading as tiny and helpful, but in reality psychologically invasive and damaging to the brain, interrupting complex thought, forcing expensive, taxing, context switch, spiking dopamine, making thought reactive instead of proactive. By posting GPT generated text, we are polluting the data for its future version. Trees are solidified air. Ooh, trees are solidified air. The human body is so wonderfully nested. Its 40 trillion cells descend from individual eukaryotic cells before multicellularity, and each has 1,000 mitochondria, which were free living bacteria before endosymbiosis. And all of it is home to 1 to 3x as many bacteria in the nooks and crannies. It's been a while since I last played Factorio, but I can't stop thinking about it and of the entire economy as being an MMORPG version of it. Which style of drawing residual networks is semantically superior? This is a troll, but I think it'll be funny. 4-year-old child actually has a few 100 million years of experience, not four. The rapid learning generalization is much less shocking, magical considering this fact. Biotech is so much more powerful than our normal tech. Imagine if we could tap its full potential, maybe your car could just heal itself of any scratches, or it could give birth to your new car, and then you could feed the old one to your house. Wow. Okay. Okay. Imagine if we could tap into its full potential, maybe your car could just heal itself of any scratches, or it could give birth to your new car, and then you could feed the old one to your house. Wow. The two tech stacks, physics, chemistry, biology, Python, digital design. Pro tip, move your phone in a wide circle while capturing live photos to future-proof them so that the motion parallax information is there for some crazy future neural network accurately recover full scene geometry and animate it into something amusing. When a person says that fx is equal to fa plus f dash a times x minus a, and someone digresses strongly because f double dash a, wow. Nature stuff all around us are best thought of as basically super advanced alien technology. These are nanotechnology devices magically grown in ambient conditions with complex information processing. Synthetic bio is tinkering with hijacking this tech. My parents were visiting me once, and as I was leaving for work, I saw my mom sitting on the couch in the living room, just looking forward. I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? Sitting, she shrugged, like, not reading, listening, planning, or even meditating. Like, not reading, listening, planning, or even meditating. Mind blown. Similar to chemistry, making alchemy rigorous, divination could be resurrected as a discipline, but take on a highly scientific approach as a degree, combining history and CS plus stats in equal measure. As a bonus, if you do a PhD, you become a certified oracle. Discovering paradoxically late in life that I get more out of textbooks than books, and that I don't have to stop buying them just because I'm out of school. Good reading list pointers. It took me a while to really admit to myself that just reading a book is not learning, but entertainment. Just reading a book is not learning, but entertainment. It is entertainment. Sometimes I'm reading these extremely deep philosophical books, and I don't even remember what I just read, but it's just that while I'm reading it, things are clicking. And if the writing is really good, The words are flowing, and I love to be in a flow state while I'm reading a beautiful book. 1 hour and 5 diagrams later, I optimized 100 lines of code that I ran in 13 seconds to 20 lines of heavily vectorized code that runs in 0.02 seconds. And this might just be the best day of my life so far. Looks like if you bombard Earth with photons for a while, it can emit a roadster. The heat expelled from the back of a computer makes me sad. Ideally, never absorb information without predicting it first. Then you can update both your knowledge but also your generated model. Gradient descent can write code better than you. I'm sorry. I've been using PyTorch a few months now and I have never felt better. I have more energy, my skin is clear, my eyesight has improved. My skin is clear, my eyesight is improved. I've been using PyTorch a few months now and I've never felt better. I have more energy, my skin is clear, my eyesight has improved. Beautiful. You could just put any random thing over here. Loss addiction. Loss addiction. Self-destructive behavior, obsessively watching and reading into tiny fluctuations in loss functions of running experiments. 3 e to the power -4 is the best learning rate for Alam, hands down. Co-worker on RL research. We are supposed to make AI do all the work and we play games, but we do all the work and the AI is playing games. We were supposed to make AI do all the work and we play games. We do all the work and the AI is playing games. 15. I like your conv nets in JavaScript. Me, thank you. I like your map reduce. 15. I know who Jeff Dean is, I think. Noticing myself adopting a certain rhythm in AI assisted coding that is code I actually and professionally care about, contrast to wipe code. Something like this feels more along the lines of the inner loop of AI assisted development. The emphasis on keeping a very tight leash on this new over-eager junior intern savant with encyclopedic knowledge of software, but who also bullshits you all the time, has an overabundance of courage and shows little to no taste of good code. An emphasis on being slow, defensive, careful, paranoid, and on always taking the inline learning opportunity, not delegating. Many of these changes are clunky and manual and aren't made explicit or super well supported yet in existing tools. We are still very early and so much can be done on the UI UX of AI assisted coding. Simone, creator, data set, co-created Django, NetBat. Interesting. This is really cool. Like this thing has a lot of courage. Power to the people. How LLMs flip the script on technology diffusion. But at least at this moment in time, we find ourselves in a unique and unprecedented situation in the history of technology. If you go back to radio sci-fi, you will see that very few would have predicted that the AI revolution would feature this progression. It was supposed to be a top secret government mega brain project wielded by the generals, not ChatGPT appearing basically overnight and for free on a device already in everyone's pocket. Remember that William Gibson quote, the future is already here. It's just not very evenly distributed. The future is already here. Very, it's just not evenly distributed. It's just not very evenly distributed. The future is already here. It's just not very evenly distributed. Surprise. Future is already here, and it's shockingly distributed power to the people. Personally, I love it. Oh no, Elon is mad. It's like Andres posting ChatGPT advertisements. Try Grok. It's better and much less biased. Transformative technologies usually follow up a top-down diffusion path, originating in government or military context, passing through corporations, and eventually reaching individuals. Think electricity, cryptography, computers, flight, the internet, or GPS. This progression, oh, really cool. Power to the people. How LLMs flip the script on technology diffusion. This progression feels intuitive. New and powerful technologies are usually scarce, capital intensive, and their use requires specialized technical expertise in the early stages. So it strikes me as quite unique and remarkable that LMs display a dramatic reversal of this pattern. They generate disproportionate benefit for regular people, while their impact is a lot more muted and lagging in corporations and governments. Wow. ChatGPT is the fastest growing consumer application in history with 400 million weekly active users who use it for writing, coding, translation, tutoring, summarization, deep research, brainstorming, etc. This isn't a minor upgrade to what existed before. It is a major multiplier to an individual's power level across a broad range of capabilities. The barrier to use is incredibly low. The models are cheap, free, even fast, available to anyone on demand behind a URL or even local machine, and they speak anyone's native language, including tone, slang, or emoji. This is insane. As far as I can tell, the average person has never experienced a technological unlock this dramatic, this fast. Why then are the benefits a lot more muted in the corporate and government realms? I think the first reason is that LLMs offer a very specific profile of capability, that of merely quasi expert knowledge performance, but simultaneously across a very wide variety of domains. In other words, they are simultaneously versatile but also shallow and fallible. Meanwhile, an organization's unique superpower is the ability to concentrate diverse expertise into a single entity by employing engineers, researchers, analysts, lawyers, marketers. While LLMs can certainly make these experts more efficient individually, the improvement to the organization takes the form of becoming a bit better at the things it could already do. In contrast, an individual will usually only be an expert in at most one thing. So the broad quasi expertise offered by the LLM fundamentally allows them to do things they couldn't do before. People can now wipe code apps, they can approach legal documents, they can grok. Hey, Elon, he mentioned grok. Esoteric research papers. They can do data analytics, they can generate multimodal content for branding and marketing. They can do all of this at an adequate capability without involving an additional expert. Second, organizations deal with problems of a lot greater complexity and necessary coordination. Think various integrations, legacy systems, corporate brand or style guides, stringent security protocols, privacy considerations, internationalization, regulatory compliance, and legal risk. There are a lot more variables, a lot more constraints, a lot more considerations, lot lower margin for error. It's not so easy to put all of it into a context window. You can't just write code something. You might be one disastrous hallucination away from losing a job. And third, there is the well documented inertia of a larger organization featuring culture, historical precedents, political turf that escalate in periods of rapid change, communication overhead, retraining challenges of a distributed workforce, and good old fashioned bureaucracy. Really cool. Wake up, babe. Karpathy just dropped another article on the TL. Let's take AI predictions from blog posts, podcasts, and tweets and move them to betting markets or state of art. In truth, my struggle has been coming up with good concrete resolvable predicates, ideally predicates related to industry, metrics, and macroeconomics. Naively, one might think GDP, but I am not super sure that works great. Productivity paradox. I also think evals are not amazing predicates because we see over and over that they are incomplete and hackable. Getting the best sleep tracker. Results of an experiment where I wore four sleep trackers every night for 2 months. Whoop, Aura, Eat Sleep, Apple Watch, Auto Sleep. Wait, so what was the result? Apple Watch. Aura, Whoop. Okay. I just swipe coded a whole iOS and Swift, and now 1 hour later, it's actually running on my physical phone. It was so easy. I had my hand held through the entire process. Very cool. Oh, this is about new conversation. One thread approach can be seen as the extreme special case of using memory always and for everything. The other day, I've come across someone saying that their conversation with Grok, which was free to them at the time, has now grown way too long for them to switch to ChatGPT. Functions like a moat. LLMs are rapidly growing in the allowed maximum context length in principle, and it's clear that this might allow the LLM to have a lot more context and knowledge of you. Speed, a giant context window will cost more compute and will be slower ability. Just because you can feed in all the tokens doesn't mean that they can also be manipulated effectively. Too many tokens fighting for attention may decrease performance due to being too distracting, diffusing attention too broadly, and decreasing a signal to noise ratio in the features. It's very interesting. Like when you have this one long context window, the LLM feels the need to keep referencing and keep relating every new question with the previous question. So I think it's important to to let the LLM know that, hey, I'm asking a new question, but I don't necessarily want you to keep referencing this. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it doesn't even make sense. Like that just doesn't make sense. I asked you a question. I don't want you to keep referencing a thing that I asked you like an hour ago and try to relate this current question with that. So that is interesting. Sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's not. So again, I think that's where a little bit of uh, feedback has to come into play. Like you have to kind of give them feedback that, okay, I didn't really need that any of the reference. And sometimes you have to be like, oh, that was actually good. Thank you. Thank you for connecting these two different topics. People are trying one thread and what the word is. Truly throwaway questions. Whoa, 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 whoa. This person got 92,000 views on this one. Long running bookmarked basically my stuff. Examples. AI training nutritionist, I was returned to for training nutrition questions. Okay. Yeah, professors. I used to learn various subjects, one per subject. Oh, wow. Useful. May return to, but not necessarily. Okay. Digital hygiene, authentication, communication, security, privacy, messaging. I recommend Signal instead of text messages because it end-to-end encrypts all your communications. It does not store metadata like many other apps. Turn on disappearing messages. It is default is good. They are an information vulnerability with no significant upside. Cards. Mid new unique credit cards per merchant. There is no need to use one credit card on many services. This allows them to link up your purchasing across different services. In addition, it opens you up to credit card fraud because the services might leak your credit card number. Like in useprivacy.com to mint new credit cards for every single transaction or merchant. You get a nice interface for all your spending and notifications for each swipe. You can also set limits on each credit card, which dramatically decreases the risk of being charged more than you expect. This is very interesting. This is very much like how ramp works. Basically want to bring that digital hygiene biometrics to a common authentication factor. If you're on iOS, I recommend setting up Face ID basically everywhere to access one password app. I recommend Brave Search. Privacy first with its own index, like DuckDuckGo, which basically a nice skin for Bing is forced into weird partnerships with Microsoft that compromise user privacy. I paid $3 per month for Brave Premium because I prefer to be the customer, not the product in my digital life. Empirically, about 95% of my search engine queries are super simple website lookups with the search engine basically acting as a tiny DNS. Sesame, Sesame. Today marks the release of GPT 4.5 by OpenAI. This release offers a quality measurement of the slope of improvement you get of scaling pre-training compute. GPT-1 barely generates coherent text. GPT-2 was a confused toy. 2.5 was skipped straight into 3, which was even more interesting. 3.5 crossed the threshold where it was enough to actually ship as a product and spout OpenAI's ChatGPT moment. 4, in turn, also felt better, but I'll say it definitely felt subtle. I remember being a part of a hackathon trying to find concrete prompts where 4 outperformed 3.5. They definitely existed, but clear and concrete slam dunk examples were difficult to find. It's that everything was just a little bit better, but in a diffuse way. The word choice was a bit more creative. Understanding of nuance in the prompt was improved. And analogies made a bit more sense. The model was a little bit funnier. World knowledge and understanding was improved at the edges of rare domains. Hallucinations were a bit less frequent. The vibes were just a bit better. Felt like the water that rises all boats, where everything gets slightly improved by 20%. But it is with that expectation that I went into testing 4.5, which I had access to for a few days, and which saw 10x more pre-training compute than 4. And I feel like once again, I'm the same hackathon 2 years ago. Everything's a little bit better and it's awesome, but also not exactly in ways that are trivial to point to. Is incredibly interesting and exciting as another qualitative measurement of a certain slope of capability that comes for free from just pre-training a bigger model. 4.5 was only trained with pre-training supervised fine-tuning in RLHF, so this is not yet a reasoning model. Does not push forward model capability in cases where reasoning is critical. In these cases, training with and gaining thinking is incredibly important and works better, even if it is on top of an older base model. The state of the art here remains the full O1. Presumably, OpenAI will now be looking to further train with reinforcement learning on top of 4.5. This is very interesting, like the fact that he can say what was happening inside. What's the difference between 1, 2, 3? However, we do actually expect to see an improvement in tasks that are not reasoning heavy. And I would say those are tasks that are more EQ written bottlenecked. Example, by world knowledge, creativity, analogy making, general understanding, humor. So these are the tasks that I was most interested in during my vibe checks. Yeah, especially like when we did the uranium enrichment stream. The fact that ChatGPT could explain me how uranium enrichment, no, sorry, Grok, okay, wrong, Elon would be mad. No, no, sorry, Elon. Hey, Grok was good. So Grok explained how uranium enrichment actually works, and I understood it. That was crazy. That was crazy to me. Because once you, in this very scientific things, once you understand the very fundamentals, it's very easy to extrapolate where things are going and very easy to break down. What you don't know is just the exact chemical formulas and stuff, which I don't really care at this point. I just want to understand how things actually work, how they work, not the tiniest details. Okay, perfect. I think that's the stream. My throat is hurting.